Deep Understanding of Judaism and Zionism, Israel SHAHAK, Jewish History and Jewish Religion, a Closed Utopia, the definition of the Jewish state following. There are so many laws and regulations in Israel which discriminate in favor of the persons defined as those who can immigrate in accordance with the law of return, that the subject demands separate treatment. We can look here at one example, seemingly trivial in comparison with residence restrictions, but nevertheless important since it reveals the real intentions of the Israeli legislator. Israeli citizens who left the country for a time, but were defined as those who can immigrate in accordance with the law of return, are eligible on their return to generous customs benefits, to receive subsidy for their children's high school education, and to receive either a grant or a loan on easy terms for the purchase of an apartment, as well as other benefits. Citizens who can be so defined, in other words, the non-Jewish citizens of Israel, get none of these benefits. The obvious intention of such discriminatory measures is to decrease the number of non-Jewish citizens of Israel in order to make Israel a more Jewish state. The ideology of redeemed land. Israel also propagates among its Jewish citizens an exclusivist ideology of the redemption of land. Its official aim of minimizing the number of non-Jews can be well perceived in this ideology, which is inculcated to Jewish school children in Israel. They are taught that it is applicable to the entire extent of either the State of Israel or, after 1977, to what is referred to as the land of Israel. According to this ideology, the land which has been redeemed is the land which has passed from non-Jewish to Jewish ownership. The ownership can be either private or belong to either the JNF or the Jewish state. The land which belongs to non-Jews is, on the contrary, considered to be unredeemed. Thus, if a Jew who committed the blackest crimes which can be imagined buys a piece of land from a virtuous non-Jew, the unredeemed land becomes redeemed by such a transaction. However, if a virtuous non-Jew purchases land from the worst Jew, the formerly pure and redeemed land becomes unredeemed again. The logical conclusion of such an ideology is the expulsion, called transfer, of all non-Jews from the area of land which has to be redeemed. Therefore, the utopia of the Jewish ideology adopted by the State of Israel is a land which is wholly redeemed, and none of it is owned or worked by non-Jews. The leaders of the Zionist labor movement expressed this utterly repellent idea with the greatest clarity. Walter Lacker, a devoted Zionist, tells in his History of Zionism how one of these spiritual fathers, A.D. Gordon, who died in 1919, objected to violence in principle and justified self-defense only in extreme circumstances. But he and his friends wanted every tree and every bush in the Jewish homeland to be planted by nobody else except Jewish pioneers. This means that they wanted everybody else to just go away, and leave the land to be redeemed by Jews. Gordon's successors added more violence than he intended, but the principle of redemption and its consequences have remained. In the same way, the kibbutz, widely hailed as an attempt to create a utopia, was and is an exclusivist utopia. Even if it is composed of atheists, it does not accept Arab members on principle and demands that potential members from other nationalities be first converted to Judaism. No wonder the kibbutz boys can be regarded as the most militaristic segment of the Israeli Jewish society. It is this exclusivist ideology, rather than all the security needs alleged by Israeli propaganda, which determines the takeovers of land in Israel in the 1950s and again in the mid-1960s, and in the occupied territories after 1967. This ideology also dictated official Israeli plans for the Judaization of Galilee. This curious term means encouraging Jews to settle in Galilee by giving them financial benefits. I wonder what would be the reaction of US Jews if a plan for the Christianization of New York, or even only of Brooklyn, would be proposed in their country. But the redemption of the land implies more than regional Judaization. In the entire area of Israel, the JNF, vigorously backed by Israeli state agency, especially by the secret police, is spending great sums of public money in order to redeem any land which non-Jews are willing to sell, and to preempt any attempt by a Jew to sell his land to a non-Jew by paying him a higher price.